Everyone, we've all been there. The heartbreak, the sleepless nights, the endless scrolling through old messages, wondering what went wrong. Breakups are tough, no doubt about it. And when someone breaks your heart, you might be tempted to get revenge, to make them regret losing you. But let me tell you something, the coldest thing you can do after a breakup isn't about revenge. It isn't about blocking them, ignoring them, or making them jealous. The coldest thing you can do is to move on, genuinely move on. When you move on, when you thrive, when you level up without looking back, that's when they feel your absence the most. Not through your words, not through your social media posts, but through your complete indifference. Here's why this is the ultimate power move. First, it shows emotional maturity. Instead of wasting time plotting payback, you invest in yourself. Second, it keeps you in control. The moment you act out of spite, you're still giving them power over your emotions. But when you move on, you are in charge. And third, it allows you to heal. You shift the focus from them to you, from pain to progress. So if you want to be truly cold, don't beg, don't seek revenge, and don't dwell in bitterness. Instead, build a life so fulfilling that your past becomes irrelevant. That is how you truly win after a breakup. When you genuinely move on after a breakup, you send the most powerful message without even trying. Moving on doesn't mean pretending to be okay or using distractions to cover up the pain. It means truly healing, growing, and finding happiness within yourself. It means no longer checking their social media, no longer reminiscing about what could have been, and no longer letting their presence or absence dictate your emotions. It means reaching a place where you wake up in the morning and your first thought isn't about them. It's about your goals, your future, your well-being. People often think that cutting someone off or acting cold toward them is the ultimate payback. But the reality is, if you still have the energy to hate, to plot, or to prove a point, you haven't really moved on. True detachment comes when you no longer feel the need to react at all. It's when their name comes up and you feel nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just neutrality. You don't wish them harm, but you also don't care about their life anymore. You stop wondering if they think about you, if they regret losing you, or if they've moved on faster than you have, because none of it matters. This level of emotional detachment is what truly makes them realize what they lost. The moment you stop caring is the moment they feel your absence in the deepest way possible. And ironically, this is often when they try to come back, when they suddenly realize you're no longer accessible, no longer affected, no longer the same person who once cried over them. But by then, you'll be too far ahead, too evolved, too fulfilled to even consider looking back. Revenge or making them jealous might seem like the best way to get back at an ex, but in reality, it only keeps you stuck in the past. When you focus on trying to make them regret losing you, you are still centering your actions around them, which means they still have power over you. Posting pictures to make them jealous, talking about how much better you're doing just to get a reaction, or even pretending to be happy when you're not. These things don't truly set you free. They only prolong your healing process because deep down, you're still seeking validation from them. True power isn't about proving a point to someone who hurt you. It's about getting to a place where you don't even think about proving anything at all. When you are genuinely happy and focused on yourself, their opinion no longer matters. And that's when you truly win. Taking control of your healing is one of the most powerful things you can do after a breakup. Many people let their emotions control them, reacting impulsively or holding on to anger and sadness for too long. But when you take control, you decide how you respond, how you heal, and how you move forward. You don't let heartbreak define you or consume you. Instead of sitting in bitterness or waiting for closure from someone who may never give it, you create your own closure. You accept that the past cannot be changed, but your future is in your hands. You make a conscious choice to focus on yourself, on your growth, your dreams, your peace of mind. And in doing so, you not only heal faster, but you also become stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Not reacting at all sends a stronger message than any words ever could. Silence is powerful because it leaves space for the other person to wonder, to question, and to feel your absence more than any confrontation ever could. When you react emotionally, whether through anger, sadness, or trying to prove something, you are still engaging, still feeding the connection in some way. But when you simply remove yourself from the equation and continue living your life, it sends the loudest message possible. It tells them that you are unbothered, that you don't need to explain yourself, and that their actions no longer affect you. The lack of a reaction is unsettling to someone who expects one. They expect anger, they expect sadness, they expect a response. But when you give them nothing, they are left to sit with their own thoughts, and that is far more powerful than any words you could say. Focusing on self-improvement is the best way to move forward after a breakup. Instead of wasting time thinking about what went wrong, who was to blame, or how things could have been different, shifting your energy toward bettering yourself is the ultimate way to heal. Working on your physical health, learning new skills, setting new goals, and surrounding yourself with positive influences will naturally make you feel stronger and more confident. When you improve yourself, you stop seeing the breakup as a loss and start seeing it as an opportunity. An opportunity to redefine yourself, to rediscover what makes you happy, and to create a life that is even better than before. Growth is the best revenge, not because it makes your ex regret leaving, but because it makes you realize that they were never essential to your happiness in the first place. Your ex should become irrelevant to your happiness. This doesn't mean pretending they never existed or acting like the relationship didn't matter, but rather reaching a place where their presence or absence no longer has an effect on your emotions. When someone has control over your happiness, they also have control over your peace of mind. True healing comes when you detach from the idea that another person is responsible for your joy. Instead of relying on a relationship to feel fulfilled, you build a life where your happiness comes from within. This means creating your own sense of purpose, finding joy in your passions, and being surrounded by people who genuinely uplift and support you. When you get to the point where your ex no longer crosses your mind when you wake up, when their name no longer stirs emotions within you, when your mood isn't dictated by what they do or don't do, that is when you know you have truly moved on. Growth and success make them question what they lost more than anything else ever could. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and even professionally, you naturally shift your energy away from the pain of the breakup and toward a brighter future. People often assume that the best way to get back at an ex is through revenge, insults, or making them jealous. But nothing is more powerful than simply evolving into someone they no longer have access to. When they see you thriving, achieving new goals, and radiating confidence without them, it forces them to reflect on their own choices. They start to wonder if they underestimated you, if they made a mistake, or if they ever really knew you at all. And by the time they realize it, you'll be so far ahead that their opinion no longer matters. Winning after a breakup means building a better life, not seeking revenge. Many people think that the ultimate victory is making their ex jealous or making them feel the same pain they felt. But in reality, the best revenge isn't about hurting them. It's about rising so high that their presence or absence becomes completely irrelevant. When you channel all your energy into creating a life that fulfills you, you naturally distance yourself from the pain and resentment. You become so busy with new experiences, new opportunities, and new levels of self-growth that you no longer have time to dwell on the past. Your happiness becomes independent of what they did or didn't do. And that is true freedom. When your focus shifts from proving something to them to proving something to yourself, that's when you truly win. Indifference is the most powerful response you can give after a breakup. When someone hurts you, they expect a reaction. They expect you to be upset, to reach out, to try to fix things, or even to lash out in anger. But when you give them nothing, not even a hint of emotional turmoil, it confuses them. They start to question whether they ever had as much power over you as they thought. Indifference shows that you have emotionally detached, that you are no longer waiting for them, and that their presence in your life is no longer significant. It creates a sense of mystery and forces them to confront the reality that they no longer have access to you. The less you react, the more powerful you become, because you are no longer allowing them to control your emotions. Instead, you are choosing yourself, your peace, and your future. Shifting the focus from pain to progress is the key to true healing. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of overthinking, replaying memories, and feeling overwhelmed by what went wrong. But the longer you dwell on the past, the more you keep yourself trapped in it. The only way to truly move forward is to make a conscious decision to redirect your focus. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, how can I grow from this? Use the breakup as motivation to improve every aspect of your life, to take better care of yourself, to set new goals, and to build the future you've always wanted. When you turn your pain into progress, you transform the breakup from something that broke you into something that built you. And that shift in mindset is what truly sets you free. Emotional maturity is more powerful than any petty retaliation. When a relationship ends, emotions can be intense. Anger, sadness, frustration, and even a desire for revenge. It's easy to act on these emotions, to lash out, to say hurtful things, or to try to make the other person feel the same pain you're feeling. But true strength lies in restraint. Emotional maturity means choosing to respond with dignity rather than reacting impulsively. It means realizing that the best way to move forward is not by trying to hurt the other person, but by focusing on your own healing and growth. It takes strength to walk away without bitterness, to wish someone well even when they hurt you, and to understand that sometimes people aren't meant to stay in your life. Instead of letting emotions control your actions, you take control of your emotions. And in doing so, you show a level of growth and self-respect that no act of revenge could ever achieve. Taking control of your healing gives you power over your emotions. After a breakup, it's easy to feel like you've lost control, like your emotions are dictating your every thought and action. You might feel overwhelmed by sadness, consumed by anger, or stuck in a cycle of overanalyzing every detail of the relationship. But the moment you decide to take ownership of your healing, everything changes. Instead of allowing emotions to control you, you start controlling them. You acknowledge the pain, but you don't let it define you. You actively seek ways to heal, whether that's through self-care, therapy, new hobbies, or surrounding yourself with positive influences. You stop waiting for closure from your ex and create closure for yourself. You recognize that healing is not about time alone, but about intention. When you take control of your healing, you no longer feel powerless. You realize that you are responsible for your own happiness, and that realization is incredibly freeing. Not reacting at all sends a stronger message than any words ever could. When someone hurts you, they often expect a reaction, whether it's anger, tears, or a desperate attempt to win them back. They might even provoke you just to see if they still have an effect on you. But the most powerful thing you can do is give them nothing. No angry texts, no social media posts aimed at them, no attempts to get their attention, just silence. This silence is louder than any words because it forces them to sit with their own thoughts. It makes them question whether they ever truly matter to you. It removes the satisfaction of knowing they still have an impact on your emotions. When you choose not to engage, you send a clear message. You are no longer important enough to affect me. That kind of detachment is powerful because it shows that you have completely moved on without needing to prove anything. Focusing on self-improvement is the best way to move forward after a breakup. When a relationship ends, it's natural to feel lost, as if a part of you is missing. But instead of dwelling on what's gone, the most empowering thing you can do is invest in yourself. This is the perfect time to work on your goals, build new skills, and improve your overall well-being. Whether it's hitting the gym, pursuing a passion you once put aside, or working toward career advancement, self-improvement shifts your focus from pain to progress. As you grow, you start to realize that your happiness was never dependent on another person. It was always within you. The more you invest in yourself, the stronger and more confident you become. And as you evolve, you naturally attract better experiences and people into your life. Your success becomes a reflection of your resilience, and that is the most powerful way to move forward. Your ex should become irrelevant to your happiness. One of the biggest mistakes people make after a breakup is tying their emotional state to what their ex is doing. They wonder if their ex has moved on, if they miss them, or if they regret leaving. But true healing happens when none of that matters anymore. When you reach a point where your happiness is not influenced by their actions, when their presence or absence no longer affects your emotions, you have truly moved on. This doesn't mean erasing the past or pretending the relationship never existed. It means accepting it for what it was, learning from it, and realizing that your happiness is something that comes from within, not from another person. The moment you detach from the idea that they have any control over your emotional well-being is the moment you gain true freedom. You don't need them to miss you, to regret losing you, or to acknowledge your worth. You know your worth, and that is more powerful than anything they could ever give or take away. Leveling up and thriving is the best way to show you don't need them. After a breakup, many people feel the urge to prove something to their ex, to show them what they lost, to make them jealous, or to get some kind of reaction. But the real flex isn't about proving anything to them. It's about proving to yourself that you are more than capable of thriving on your own. Leveling up means taking this period of your life as an opportunity for transformation. It means focusing on your physical, emotional, and mental well-being, working toward your dreams, and becoming someone even stronger and wiser than you were before. Instead of seeking validation from someone who walked away, you find validation within yourself. You create a life so fulfilling that their opinion becomes completely irrelevant. The irony is that when you truly move on and thrive, that's when they notice, when they start wondering if they made a mistake. But by then, you'll be too focused on your own happiness to care. Emotional maturity is more powerful than any petty retaliation. It's easy to act out of emotion after a breakup, to send angry messages, to throw shade on social media, or to try to make your ex feel as bad as you do. But emotional maturity means taking the high road, not for them, but for yourself. It means understanding that you don't need revenge to heal. You don't need to hurt them back to feel better. Instead, you recognize that the best thing you can do is walk away with grace. Emotional maturity also means acknowledging your own feelings, processing them in a healthy way, and allowing yourself to heal without needing external validation. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to let someone else's actions define how you see yourself. When you show that you can move forward without bitterness, without pettiness, and without needing to prove anything, you show true strength. And that strength is something no one can take away from you. Taking control of your healing gives you power over your emotions. After a breakup, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by emotions, to feel like you're drowning in sadness, anger, or regret. But healing isn't something that just happens with time. It's a choice. You can choose to stay stuck in the pain, or you can take control and actively work toward healing. This means setting boundaries, cutting off toxic patterns, and finding healthy ways to process your emotions. It means focusing on self-care, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and doing things that bring you joy. It also means letting go of the idea that you need closure from your ex. The real closure comes from within, from deciding that you are done with the past and ready to embrace the future. When you take control of your healing, you stop waiting for time to fix things and start taking action to heal yourself. And that is where true power lies. Not reacting at all sends a stronger message than any words ever could. When someone hurts you, they often expect a reaction. They expect you to be angry, to cry, to beg, or to try to get their attention in some way. But when you give them nothing, when you choose silence over reaction, it speaks volumes. Silence is powerful because it forces them to wonder. It leaves them with unanswered questions. It makes them question if they ever truly matter to you. More importantly, not reacting is a sign of strength. It shows that you have control over your emotions, that you are not dependent on their validation, and that you have already moved on. When you don't engage in drama, don't seek revenge, and don't try to prove a point, you show that you are on a completely different level. And that, more than anything, makes them realize that they no longer have power over you. Focusing on self-improvement is the best way to move forward after a breakup. Heartbreak can either break you or build you, and the choice is entirely yours. Instead of wasting time dwelling on the past, channel that energy into becoming a better version of yourself. Work on your fitness, take up a new hobby, expand your knowledge, or start working toward a goal you've always wanted to achieve. Self-improvement isn't about impressing your ex or proving anything to anyone. It's about becoming someone that you are proud of. When you invest in yourself, you naturally build confidence, and confidence is magnetic. You stop seeking validation from others because you are secure in yourself. The best part, as you grow and evolve, you start attracting better opportunities and better people into your life. People who recognize your worth and value you for who you are. Your ex should become irrelevant to your happiness. After a breakup, it's easy to fall into the trap of obsessing over what your ex is doing, whether they miss you or whether they regret leaving. But true healing happens when none of that matters anymore. When you stop checking their social media, when you stop wondering if they're thinking about you, when their actions no longer affect your emotions. That's when you know you've truly moved on. Happiness should never depend on another person, because when it does, you give them power over your well-being. Instead of looking for happiness in a relationship, learn to create it within yourself. Find joy in your passions, your goals, your friendships, and your personal growth. The moment your ex stops occupying space in your mind, the moment their existence no longer influences your emotions, that's when you have won. Because true power isn't about making them miss you. It's about reaching a place where you don't care whether they do or not. The coldest thing you can do after a breakup isn't revenge, bitterness, or trying to make them regret losing you. It's evolving to someone so strong, so fulfilled, and so at peace that their presence or absence no longer affects you. It's walking away with your dignity intact, choosing growth over resentment, and proving not to them, but to yourself, that you are always enough. True power comes when you stop seeking validation from the past and start building a future that excites you. So focus on yourself, rise above the pain, and remember, your best revenge is simply becoming someone they can never have access to again.